महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्व क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा 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 नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्व क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा 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 महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्व क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा 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 महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्व क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्व क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा प्रकाशमणि स्वाहा सिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ शान्ते प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा 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 महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ते प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ते प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ते प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् शान्ते प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ते प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ते प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ते प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा सिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ शान्ते प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ते प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा 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 महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ति सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा 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 महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा 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 महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् शान्ति प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा 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 महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ उग्रं वीरं महाविष्णुं ज्वलन्तं सर्वतोमुखं नृसिंहं भीषणं भद्रं मृत्युर्मृत्युं नमामि अहम् ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा ॐ शान्ति प्रशान्ते सर्वा क्रोधोपाशमनि स्वाहा
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me tonight. You just a very special night. Not only 8/8/8 or 8/8/2026, but it is the Lionsgate. It's a very pivotal, energetic opening, you would say, for us to be able to do a bunch of stuff. So I know my lighting's a little weird. It's nighttime here. This is the best I can get. So I'm not like it's dark, but I appreciate everybody for being here. I did not expect some of the people that I see in the chat, so I appreciate it. I'm gonna kind of hang out for a little bit to see if more people roll in, and then I'll start. If anybody has questions, start putting them into the chat, and we'll start going. I have a bunch of stuff to go over here in front of me. I have a bunch of screens in front of me, so if I'm looking around, it's because I'm monitoring everything pretty much by myself to make sure everything works. So, with that being said, let's talk about what is the 8/8 Lionsgate. Every year we hear, about the 8/8 Lionsgate, and everybody's posting about it. You see a bunch of groups post about it, and they always tell you to, think positive and go into it, and pretty much the basis that you would typically get, but this year is a little different, and this is kind of why I'm talking about it because we have certain cycles of time, and usually they're set in either sevens, 12s, even 22s. But this is a 12-year alignment based on this very special thing that's happening with the Lionsgate because of what's happening astrologically, what's happening with the eclipse coming up on the 12th. So there's a lot going on, and I'm pretty sure everybody here and that will be watching this video later has probably felt some pretty strange things going on normally. Nothing too out of alignment, but you can see in the world that it's crazy. So we can all see the changes are happening. But this year is more powerful and it's associated with certain things, okay? And this Lionsgate is really heavily on cycles, power, balance, regeneration, all of these things that, pretty much anybody can relate to, and if we can put this into our work, personal goals, work goals, family goals, whatever you may have, can accumulate much faster here, especially what we'll talk about later, which is like a little 5-day thing that you can do and start applying your mind. There's not a specific ritual because I wasn't going to just tell people what to do on the eclipse for a ritual. You can do your own thing, but it matters what's in here, in here. So that's the big part. And that's what we're going over today. So we're not just simply observing this gateway and being like, wow, it's mystical and magical. We're actually consciously working with it. And to understand the Lionsgate better and those energies that we can grasp onto and line up and bring in is so much better. So we look at 8/8 just as a numerology, just the letter 8 itself. It does look like the infinity symbol. And in my work, the infinity symbol is very pivotal. It's everywhere. It's in my art. It's in my books. It's in the techniques that I teach. And I always tell people just visualize a silver infinity symbol above your head. It's a very easy technique to actually connect you to your oversoul aspects of yourself. And I get asked a lot, like, what is the oversoul? And that's an anomaly in itself. If we look at something like God or even spirits or angels and demons as anomalies, the oversoul is really a part of that because you are part of that. So I always liken the oversoul and that infinity symbol as being infinite, yes, but it's also representing both sides of duality. We can look at that as positive and negative. We can look at that as light and dark. We can look at that as angel and demonic, angelic and demonic. We can look at it as God versus Shaitan. We can look at it all these things, but all it is a duality, and we exist within this duality actually quite heavily. So yes, exactly. Yeah, Waylon says in the chat it's transdimensional on its own, and it is. And when we're doing this infinity means all possibilities. You know, when we look at that all possibilities, and we look at an infinite dimensional possibilities, well, we can see that we can really pull anything we want out of this gate. And it's cool too because this year in the numerology, it's 8, 8. And then if we reduce 2026, it's 10. And so we have this angelic duplication, or rather, these duplication of cycles, but the cycle's better. And that's how we can hit this one because we see that the 10, the one returning to the zero, or that consciousness returning to nothingness and then coming back to one again because 10 reduces down to one. So we see this transformational process just in the numerology alone. So this is all about renewing. I would say that this year on Lionsgate's all about renewing, renewing uh, finances, renewing relationships, renewing friendships, renewing your life in ways that you either knew it was supposed to be, or how it could have been, or what mistakes you've made, what you've done on your path to maybe change things. There's a lot of accountability. And I think everybody, especially a lot of people that have, reached out to me lately and a lot of clients, they've been going through these states of like being accountable for themselves. And I'm not, I'm not alone in that. Like, you're not alone in that. I too, So the major key points of this energetic gate is courage, sovereignship. So you're sovereign. You're sovereign in your practice. You understand it. You're sovereign in yourself. You're strong-willed. It is very heart conscious. So this Lionsgate's very pull on the heart. It's a big one. Leadership is huge. So think about if you're in leadership roles, if you're in, any form of leadership, you're going to kind of have a good chance to succeed in that if you're doing that kind of work. The ability to stand in one's power, confidently, strongly, moving from fear into conscious action, I guess you could say, because a lot of people sit in fear, and that would hold them back from actually making conscious action in their life. So it's not about waiting the energy to change you. It's not like you're waiting for something to change you. It's actually about what you're consciously going to participate in your transformation in this process. Now we can liken that to, well, that's every day, John. That's every month. That's every week. I agree, but there's more to it because every time of this, when the sun is entering Leo, the energy just goes up. So we can take advantage of that big time. So that's what I'm hoping everybody here kind of gains from this. So Lionsgate, Lyrans, everybody knows that I'm pretty connected to the Lyrans. I really like the Lyrans. I have lions all in my work, talk about them all the time. The Lyran civilization is a very old civilization, and a lot of people think of them as ETs. They are, but I know them as Jinn just because of my background in the esoteric grimoire traditions of like Islam and stuff. So I consider them Jinn, and they do too. Like the one I interact with, the few that I interact with, they do also consider themselves Jinn. They're not angels. They're not demons. They're Jinn. They're angelically polarized though, and they come from what we would consider like these ancient star lineages, and they do look like lions. Some of them look like humans, but they're all focused on spiritual progress. And that's what kind of sets them out differently than maybe some other ET races or Jinn races, because the Lyrans are you are growing spiritually. You're always spiritually. You are going always the spiritual path. And it blends that like consciousness and multidimensionality into it. And that's what the Lyrans look at. They don't look at like how you're just acting outwardly. How are you acting inwardly? Just because we don't act on an impulse or a reaction or a trigger, that doesn't mean that it's still not happening inside. And that's something that I've always been taught by the Lyrans. My master from them, he has always said that, like, don't be deceived by the light of the suns, or don't be deceived by the light of the sun, clearly the physical sun, and do not be deceived by the light of the suns, which is like everybody, not just men, it's also women included, the sons of our spirit here incarnation. And he said, always be led by the inner light, which is the brightest of the lights. And that what we know in, even in Sufism, even in most occult and esoterica, we know that as like the black light. So I know the Lyrans really focusing, yes, they're spiritual, yes, they're godly, but they're actually coming from something that they always have considered the black light, which is really cool because I'm sure most of you that are watching probably know what the black light is, and call the black light clear light in Asaic Alexa. I know a lot of you have this book, but if you don't, it is available on thevioletgateway.com. Great book. I'm so glad it's helped so many people. And, I find myself when I don't use this, I kind of go off ways. And when I need to put myself back together, I even use it. So it's a great book. But I forgot what I was saying about that. But yeah, the black light. I consider it the clear light. And what I mean by that is when the black light or the void became aware, it like duplicated itself. And I call it the clear light in the psychology, and that's why I talk about the clear light. I'm really talking about the black light. It's that the brightest of the light before refraction becomes color, before refraction becomes even white. And that's gives you a good idea of how Lyrans can pull and change and transmute somebody if they're working with them or if they're part of the lineage, because somebody that is working in that kind of system and that kind of energy, it actually happens really fast. It's a quickening. And we're going through very fast quickening of time now. So we have a launch pad here, which is really cool. We see a lot of symbolism in cats. I love cats. Everybody knows I'm a cat lover, but we have to realize what lions and cats represent. Awareness, ability to see things that maybe others aren't, being open to maybe that aspect, strength. They're very independent, and cats are pretty wise. That's why, probably why cats don't like dogs. Who knows? But cats are usually much, much wiser than other animals. Same with the large cats like lions. We see this even in the physical archetype of the animal itself. So we can look at what it means spiritually too. And if we go into the Lion's Gate without any of this strength, awareness, independence, intelligence, or wisdom, if we can't bring that with us in the Lion's Gate when we're moving through it, that's what stops people. And I hear a lot of people go, wow, I did a ritual around that time period and everything actually fell apart. Well, it's because they weren't putting themselves together beforehand, you know what I mean? Or even in the process of starting it. So, and everybody should think too, like, what does it mean to be sovereign over your own consciousness? Like sovereign over your own consciousness, not just sovereign in your own practice, not like alone in your world or life, but what does it mean to become sovereign over your own consciousness? And I'm going to touch on my answer to that while I attend to the chat real quick. I've been noticing there's some stuff going on here. Thank you for being here. This is a fantastic. Colin says, nice hat, brother. Thank you. Thank you. It's the only hat I could find that was just pure black, didn't have any symbols on it or anything like that, because, I'm kind of weird with symbols. So it's if it doesn't have the right one on it, I don't want to wear it. And it took me forever to find a hat that just seemed to be black. I don't know why it's so hard around here. All right. So the next part of this, we're going to talk about like that sovereign over your own consciousness. I wish I had a physical class in front of me so I could just ask people like, how many of y'all feel you have control of your own minds? How many people would raise their, oh, I do, we'd probably all be lying. We'd have to be honest with ourselves. We'd probably all be lying. No matter how advanced of a practitioner you are subject to mind programming and external intrusion to the mind, one way or the other. And that's kind of a problem. But the more advanced practitioner, we become more aware of those things and we can start seeing those and pinpoint them and be like, no, this is actually what's going on. This is how these things work. And that's that's good. Like, no, these are not my thoughts. This is actually not how I feel. This is actually not what I want to do. This is not what I want. You know what I mean? Like having your sovereign consciousness is so important. Now, like, of course, most of my work, I talk about Violet a lot, and most of you here, I believe, know why I talk about Violet. But we're going to go through it because this is the Violet Gateway. I work with Lyrans. It is perfect. So the violet from the Lyrans really comes from, again, in Asaic Alexa, I talk about an angelic level called the Dominions. Okay, and the Dominions, they're not angels because angels are actually above them. The 7 levels below the angels and the archangels in Asaic Alexa, those bottom 7 are really like talking about like the spheres, the planetary spheres, and every single one of those planetary spheres ends up having an intelligence. So same thing like you got a demonic king, an angelic, you have a jinn king, you have all these things, right? And all of this energy comes in with that. And dominions are at the top. They're what we would put at, like, if we were to place them on our body, they would be at the crown chakra, which is violet. And the dominions itself, they primarily deal with salvation. And I don't mean salvation as like, oh, someone's coming to save me. No, it comes through yourself, but you seek the salvation in the self through it. Transformation and transmutation. Purification, not just spiritually, but also emotionally and mentally. It creates a death rebirth type of thing, but it's like a death of death, like a death of the stuff that was decaying within you. Violet also helps you move between states of awareness very easily. It helps integrate spiritual vision, I guess you could say, vision sight, I guess. It integrates that higher in your energetic body because you're not succumbing to, I'm sorry, my dog's barking if you hear that, but you're not succumbing to these negative intrusions as much because the violet's around you burning it up like fire. So it's really like a threshold. We can look at like the dominions as like this threshold pushing higher and higher and higher into those deeper aspects of, like, not higher, I guess, because we're doing inner work, so I don't want anybody to think that higher is actually going outside of yourself. It's more of a vibrational thing. Hang on one second. Kato, come here. Come here, Kato. I have somebody moving in next to me, so he's suspicious. He's very suspicious right now. So where was I? Let me look at my notes. Where am I here? So yeah, what I call the dominion is more like a threshold. We push through it. We push through this aspects of salvation and integrating this transformation within us. So it's very, very important. So a lot of people go, how do I get through the portal? I've actually been asked that before, like, oh, the Violet Gateway, how do I get through the gateway? How do I get through those portals? Well, it's not really about how you can get through it. Like, are you even ready? When I'm talking about the angelic hierarchy and they're all dimensional levels, your vibration has to be right to even knock on the door. So we have to really go like, are you even ready to pass through it? Are you ready to actually make those things about yourself to go higher and higher and higher and higher? Interesting. Most people don't have that ability, and I believe everybody does. When I say that they don't have the ability, they don't have that confidence, that strength aspect of to do it. And they do. They're just not self-realizing or self-actualizing that. What I would recommend is, before we go into the energy of the Lion's Gate, is write down things on paper. Like, what's your habits? Write good and bad. Okay. What's your fears? What are you scared of? What scares you? What triggers fear? Where's your attachments? Not just energetic lines and attachments like that, but what is your attachments to things? Like, am I attached to my phone? Am I attached to magic? Am I attached to religion? These are things to always ask yourself, especially, if you want great big change. Look at relationships that, whether they've ended or not, look at the outdated versions of them and yourself and those beliefs that actually limit you in those perspectives. Because we have to release that. And that's why I keep bringing up Asaya Kaluxa, because the release work in this is very, very, very good. And I'm so glad that I've had people reach out to me all the time, say, man, that release work has just changed my life. And it's kind of simple. It is kind of simple. It's simple on paper. We'll say it's simple on paper. It's not really simple when we're doing it with us, because real release work, we have to kind of revisit the traumas and the experiences to really get over them and transmute them. So it's not easy in that sense, but it's easy on paper. So after you're done writing down those things, your habits, all those things I listed out, then ask yourself, like, where am I giving this power away? Is it what people think of me? Is it people's perceptions and opinions? Is it, what was the word I was thinking? Is it fear? Do you have an addiction to validation? Do you always feel like you need to be validated and told that you're doing a good job? Do you need to be told that you're doing everything all right? Is this addiction to validation is also something? Take a look at your old identities, the programming that you have, and any kind of fears that you have, and where you find yourself where your spiritual dependency is. I've known many people that practice one form of magic for so long, and then they're like, you know what? It's just every time I do this, it seems to be that. But they keep getting drawn to it, right? They keep getting drawn to it. I've done that too. Spiritual dependency is no different than dependency on a drug or another type of elixir, a tool, even a dependency on a tool. So we have to look at that too, because I personally view the occult as like mini lenses, and all the lenses are really good for everything else. Like, we have this lens for this, we have that for this. Like, oh, this system's really good for this, and they all have different outcomes and energies, and they're all not wrong, but we have to understand what they're doing. So if you have spiritual dependency on one system, say you only worked Enochian magic your whole life, and you just feel so dependent on it, but yet you're blocked. Well, that doesn't mean that maybe you just don't need to be there anymore. Try to learn something else. So look, also not only changing the habitual patterns within you, but also look at what your spiritual things are, and that's a big thing moving in here. I think it's going to be very important. So let's talk about what to do in like the next 5 days. Okay. And if anybody has questions, I don't know, do they have this here? Okay, no questions. Well, if you have questions or topics that you would like covered, you can definitely do it. But for the next 5 days, because today, and then we have till August 12th, which is the eclipse. So when we have August 12th, the eclipse, that's really big. That's really pivotal. A lot of people just kind of, as I say, shoot blanks off during that time, like, ooh, an eclipse, boo, 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 boo. And then this, oh, that's not what I expected. Well, no shit. So we have a 5 day thing here. Okay. So we have day one is always about intention. And that's why I love that we're doing this video today, and you guys are all here with me, because this is an intention. What are your intentions? What is the call to action? We have to always set intentions first, and then we have to actually act on the intentions. If we don't act on the intentions, well, it's on us, right? It's on us, it's on you, it's on everybody that did not do that. So day one is all about intention, and this is really day one. Day two is purification. So that means tomorrow, think about what inner patterns and programming just must leave from you based on the things that we've written down. That's really important, and Those are the things that we're trying to purify. We're not just purifying our energetic body, please do that, but we're purifying actually the psychological aspects of the spirituality of us. So purifying the inner patterns and the programming. So when we know what we want to purify, the intention of that alone starts to purify it. Feel these inner patterns and these programmings in you and take them, like feel like yourself grabbing them and ripping them out and putting them in like a violet bag, or like throwing them into like a violet fire. Burn them up, change them, purify it in the fire. So day 3, attract. You want to call in positive change. So after you're done doing that release, day 3 is about attracting that positive change, allowing that those openings that you've created in your energetic field by your own choice has made room for these new things to come in. So this is what you're attracting, like a magnet. We just purified like electricity. Now we're going to magnetize things to us. So we have to call in positive change, positive renewal, because this is so big about renewal. It's a huge opportunity for new renewals. And renewals isn't something new. It's a renewal of something, whatever that might be. For everybody, it's different, so I would, it's not a single person dependent. That's why I'm trying to explain the whole gamut of it. Day 4, so after day 3, we start to empower and bring strength to ourselves. Okay, we know where we're giving away our power, but think about it again. Then amplify, create a stronger pull. Well, not pull, but not pull's the wrong word. Amplification of energy, purifying it, raise the confidence. Because when we go back to looking at where we were giving away our power, and we amplify those intentions and make those or our confidence higher, this creates an energetic seal, being like, no, this is it. We're sealing the intention. And then we have day 5, which is my favorite, is the eclipse, and that's on August 12th. And this would be like the final day of this alignment process that would be very powerful in the Lionsgate time period. The final day is all about doing the final release. It's about stepping into those new beginnings of renewal. So that means on the eclipse, if you do your rituals, or if you're just observing it but have your intention, that is the minute. That is the beginning of the renewal. So when it hits day 6 and there's nothing left, you really have to be taking that right step forward on everything. So this is a 5-day thing of being like, okay, this is what I want change and how to do it, and analyze my mind and put it all together. And then you step into the ritual of the eclipse, and then you step out of the ritual of the eclipse with your right foot going forward, and you continue on it. I'm surprised nobody has questions yet. I've been saying a lot of things. So we can look at, some of the occult and the esoteric sciences and kind of find out what's going on energetically, right? Everybody here I know is interested in tarot and astrology and, all the sciences, all the ilms, as we call them in Sufism. It's the ilms, the sciences of our esoteric. It's beautiful. It's my favorite subject is the sciences of it, And that to me is magic, the science of magic. And we can look at the Lionsgate, 8-8, etc. But this is a time period that is really connects to the tarot card of strength. Okay. And not only because it has a line in it, when the woman's opening its mouth. It's not about that. Okay. It's strong. Yes, it's Leo. It represents fire, but it also represents like that inner sovereignty, like that inner sovereignty of your own consciousness, strength over the impulses, the reactions, all the strength over those things that we have inside of us. The lion itself is yes, represents primal instinct, passion, anger, desire, but the lion is always usually calm. We have in the image. I'm like pulling the image. I don't have it in front of me, but I know him well enough. We have that the maiden in it. And the maiden itself and the woman represents that awakened consciousness. So when we're waking up and moving through these time periods and moving into this gate, we can see that through awakened consciousness, not like, oh, wow, I'm woke up to the world. Wow, the world's crazy. I'm saying awoken consciousness within us. We're waking up even more spiritually, because once you start waking up, you really don't stop waking up. The strength card represents like mastery through integrating things about yourself, whether they're dark or light. It's representing the integration. It's not suppressing anything. That's why she's opening the mouth of the lion, right? She's opening the mouth and she's not suppressing it. She's not closing the mouth of the lion. She's opening the mouth of the lion, allowing that will and that courage and that roar to come out. And that is very pivotal. So we have to realize that this is all about transforming our instincts, our natural primal urges, into something bigger, much bigger. And this goes through will. Yes, personal will and God's will and free will. Free will is cool because as long as your will is actually to you and this is like right for you, the will is so strong because God's will is going to allow it. We have to transform these things about ourselves like resentment, anger, what's the other word that I'm thinking of here? Anything that makes us feel down, anything that doesn't make us feel good. We have to transform all these things more into courage. Look at fear. Fear is so low vibrational. And if you're in fear, you don't have courage. You don't feel like you have will. You don't feel you have that. And that's not a good place to be in. And fear doesn't save you from death. Fear just saves you from actually like living life. And I think it's a very important concept. We must transform passion into devotion. I made this really bold in my notes. It's transform passion into devotion. We can have passion for a lot of things. And if we have passion for a ton of things, we end up really not having devotion to one thing or devotion to two things. So we have to transform our passions into devotion. What is your biggest passion? What is the things that you want to go to? That is devotion. And, true power, I would say that true power is self-mastery. So we have to ask ourselves, like, can we actually hold fire without being burned? Can we actually consume the fire without melting our insides? This is why we have to transmute it. We can't keep it in us. We can't keep it stored inside of us, because if we transmute it, we miss out on so many different things that we might not be seeing around us. Of course, it's, Lion's Gate's happening on a Saturday, which is, of course, Saturn. But overall, Jupiter also has a very strong play in here. So look at finances, look at, status in your life, where you are in status in your life. And it's going to be a very, very big thing to look at and understand that the Jupiter and Saturn is kind of kicking off this gate. It's kicking off the gateway of Jupiter and Saturn playing their little dance. Yeah, Colin in the chat here says, I agree, brother, but I wonder, at least the past 2 years, time feels sped up and chaotic at this time. What do you think sped it up? Well, this is a perfect question, actually, because I'm about to hit astrology. And a big miss thing. I think a lot of people don't focus on astrology is the mansions. And I don't really mean like your Western aspects of the mansions. The- to me, the only people that have it right in the mansions and astrology is Vedic astrology and ancient Islamic or ancient Arabic astrology, like even pre-Islamic astrology. Those are the best. They had it the most keen. And I was looking through the my notebooks and looking at and this was brought up actually by Colin to me earlier, and we were talking about it. Is right now we are in the lunar mansion of Al Azra, okay, and that's from July 29th to August 10th. This is typically a mansion that deals with kind of happiness, attraction, and inner knowledge. Okay, and it's also held by the power of the letter Zain, whether it's in Hebrew or Arabic, doesn't matter. It's still the letter Zain. So as the moon moves through the mansions of it, we're moving through the mansions of the moon. Our next one is actually Al Nathra, and it's governed by the letter of Ha in both traditions. The problem with the one that we're going into is that it's a mixed temperament. So it means it can be one of two things when you're mixing these things. So when I'm saying that, Al Nathra is like ramming reality of the world, like it's ramming the reality of the world, like slams into it, right? Just slams into your reality, like whoa, whoa, whoa. It has to deal with hatred and animosity. It has to do with wars, forsaking people, and spirit work. And when we look at all these things, the spirit work really stands out to me because we look at hatred and animosity, wars, forsaking, that aspect of like ramming something in, right? If we're doing the right spiritual work, we should not have those things happen. And that's the big part of this. And time moves so fast during this because the mind becomes cloudy because of the Al Nathra slamming into the reality of the world. The energy of Nathra is coming in, the energy of Ha. And I'll go back here and let's look at the energy of, where are you? Of Ha. It's a water letter, so it has to pertain to emotions. It's kind of passive in nature. It's great for love work. It's like if you're trying to heal love from family, from relationships, whatever it is, it's amazing for that actually. Ha is really good for that. And then it's really connected to bones and shells. And it's also connected to the toad medicine, like the toad ritual. So there's also this dark aspect of more of like a chthonic aspect to it too. But it helps overall put things into perspective. It manages to be able to pull everything together and keep it organized and managed. So if we look at it that way, that means your mind, your thoughts, your emotions, all these things, they're a lot easier to manage. But we can't let those things of animosity, of wars, forsaking, all those negative things about whatever it is, we can't actually let that get involved with our spiritual work, and we can't even let it get to us at all because we would have to like step over that almost like a hurdle. So that was a really good question. And time speeds up when the brain and the mind is so constantly being attacked, or it's so much density and cloudiness of electromagnetics, or you name it. We're bombarded constantly, and it time is perceived to move faster because the mind is not really calculating it in the same way. So into the astrology, we have 12 signs. Everybody's a different sign, and there's always positive and negative in anything. So when we look at this, we have to realize every sign is going to be a little different. So that's why this Lion's Gate isn't really set, do this, it's going to work for you. Not at all. So I took time and I listed out some things of each astrological sign and really what they'd kind of be expecting, you know. And the highest energy ones right now that have the most manifestation power is congratulations, Leos. You got what you wanted. You got to be you got to be noticed and then loved on for that. You know, Leo has so much high energy and manifestation power right now. It is really good. So does Aries and it was it a Sagittarius. And you're going to receive these three signs are actually going to receive probably the most energetic boost I'm seeing based on what I have in my notebooks and stuff like that. And so it means it's going to have a lot of manifestation capabilities of you. So pay attention to what you want. You know, don't let that fall, you know, and don't get overconfident because we know that even Leos and Aries and even Sagittarius, you're very confident in general. Don't let the confidence and the ego come through. Let's subside that and focus on it. Okay. Leo right now is you have to Leos should be embracing leadership. You should be embracing leadership roles in whatever you're doing and some new beginnings in your practice, in your ideas, in your life overall. These new beginnings that are going to be focused on leadership. Aries should see a boost in career growth. This should be put on creative pursuits, though, not like, you know, oh, I gotta. Hopefully, you get a raise or a promotion in your job. That'd be great, Aries. That'd be phenomenal. But it's going to be very heavy and more like the things that we are creative with. So your creative pursuits. Look at this time. If you're an Aries, look at this time. It's like, what are you doing that is being creative, and what you could do to create beginnings or advancement and growth within those creativity projects. That is going to be very important. Sagittarius is going to go through adventure, learning, and expansion. I have, and that means that sounds fun. So it'd be interesting to see if a bunch of Sagittarius end up going through a bunch of adventure, learning, and expansion. And again, these things are only boosted if we go into this gateway properly and come out of the eclipse in a very powerful way of aligning to these things. So it's awesome. So Gemini and Aquarius, they are going to be benefited from enhanced creativity. Come here, Kato. Come here, buddy. He's wanting to be enhanced creativity right now. He's bored. I know he's bored. I know. But the Gemini is and Aquarius, you're gonna have a lot more. You should have a lot more enhanced creativity. Hopefully, you can give some to Aries so their creative pursuits can grow. I'm kidding. You know, and kind of new opportunities. You know, which is to look out for. You're gonna have more mental clarity during this time period to like make those opportunities, that make the choices to get those opportunities. In a sense, you could say. Gemini is specifically highlighted typically for wealth right now. It's a big thing. I have wealth bolded here. And this is going to come through communication and networking. So Gemini should be doing a lot of talking right now, which is, you know, no offense to you guys, it shouldn't be too hard for you, but you should be talking a lot. You should be making those networks. You should be, you know, using that dualistic aspect of yourself to kind of chameleon between all these networking things, because that's going to boost you so, so well. Aquarius will find empowerment typically in new innovations in relationships. So if you had something kind of going on that was stale or something like that, there might be a new innovation or a new thing coming out of it. So that's beautiful. Taurus is going to have kind of a ups and downs, supposedly. So the same with Scorpio. Scorpio should be focusing to get the most out of this. You should be focusing on your ambitions, whether they're professional. It doesn't mean career. You know, when I talk about professionalism or your profession, I don't just mean career, but it's your ambitions, like the professional ambitions that you know are part of your life. Those should be really big, and you should be focusing on transmuting fear and doubt. I guess you could say in doubt would be a good way into more of like a power. Okay, and take initiative in those steps, especially if it's in your career. If you are in a good career and those ambitions align, Scorpio will be able to pop up real fast. So Taurus is going to should focus more on home. So whatever that means to you, that could be emotional home security, could be not like, home security systems. If we all had a home security system for emotions, that'd be great. But you know, look at your home surroundings, what's around you, the what you're surrounded by, and focus on the emotional security and stability of inner peace within you. So, and that's why I say Taurus will have a mixed opportunity of intensity. It will be up and down, and that just your emotional state is going to be a big thing. There's 4 signs that kind of share each other, which is very interesting because this is a different thing that's happening in this Lion's Gate, is this aspect of the alignment of the astrology. Okay. Cancer, Virgo, Capricorn, Libra, and Pisces. I'm sorry, 5 of them. Okay. If you are a Cancer, financial planning, self worth, that's going to be a big one. Whether you're already doing well financially or not, keep planning. Reassessing long-term goals is going to be really big. Make sure you're looking at, like, what is the goal? Like, my long-term goal, is it even manageable? Is it even doable? That's what's going to be a big thing too. Okay. And look at your habits. Look at your, where are you leaking from? What habits are causing you to leak? For Virgos, you need to slow down. So I've been around a lot of, yeah, it's slow down, Virgo. And you're out, Virgos are very organized, but slow down when you're doing it. Okay. Make sure rest, give yourself rest, engage in renewal. Okay. Especially if you've gone through a lot of spiritual things right now and a lot of spiritual upheaval, engage in that renewal. It's going to be very, very important for you. Capricorns, this is a time of personal transformation and releasing patterns, emotional patterns of the past, and creating a renewals of healthiness, or something healthier. And this is all based on renewal. So everything here we're talking about is renewal. So all these old patterns and old energies have a chance to fall away, and the healthier renewal of a cycle of time is actually there. Libra's relationships. It was all about relationships. And I did feel too from Libra that it has a lot to do with team working. And was more of a psychic impression too, because this is not all just based on research. This is me writing my psychic impressions. And Libras are going to have to understand teamwork, whatever is in a relationship. Perhaps you're in a relationship with somebody you run a business with. Look at the teamwork of stuff. Okay, where is your aspirations with the teamwork and the relationships you're building? Where can they kind of come out front row and take kind of like that center stage type of thing? And with that, like, teamwork, foster community. Community is going to be really good, and your community around Libra right now is going to actually help foster your long-term goals, which is cool. And Pisces, everything to reflect on is about your daily routines. And this actually, I felt, come more from wellness, not just so much habits, but actually just wellness. What's your daily wellness routine? Do you just wake up right away and grab your phone and then sit and go wallow? That's a bad habit, right? It's a routine. It's a ritual. Kato, come here. And that's kind of a ritual work in a sense. Everything that you're doing every day, look at those things, and look at it more of like wellness. Yes, your health, but your mental and your emotional wellness too in it. Pisces should focus a lot on productivity. Stay busy, because that's only going to give you the energy and the actions to start actually pushing forward within those long-term results of your goals. And of course, like I said, Leo's Aries and Sagittarius, y'all get the good waves, you get the better waves of it all. You know, Capricorn and Virgo are are fatigued, so they're fatigued in what's been going on for different ways, and they have to be cautioned against kind of feeling overwhelmed, I guess you could say, and calm and stay calm and peace, because that's how all the clutter and all the stuff is going to fall away. So that's a big thing too. So prioritize rest. We all can guarantee ourselves better everything if we're resting. You know what I mean? So, but if you're a Capricorn or a Virgo, rest is really big right now. Okay. And I felt like Scorpios, 'cause I have a lot of Scorpios around me, and they need to be more mindful of emotions during this time and the intensity of them. Because Scorpios have a really hard time to change. They're hard skinned to change, and this is a pivotal time period that Scorpios can actually take a major leap and change, which I think is really awesome. So that's kind of the astrology wrap out of what I think is going to be happening with astrology, and that's also with um the moon mansions also equated in it. So hopefully it all turns out. And if we do the things we were all talking about earlier, and setting up our mind and our emotions and all these things and moving into this gate like this, it's gonna be great. So we have to ask ourselves the questions like, what happens to us when we heal inside of us and actually rebuild what is or was outside of us? That's this Lion's Gate, and I think it's very pivotal for a very strong move into a very great direction. So you just have to make sure, we have to ask the questions like, am I even ready to change this? Am I ready to change these things of it? Am I even worthy of that change? Am I? These are valid questions. Yes, they're kind of based on doubt, but doubt's just a form of fear, right? So you have to ask yourself, are you ready? Are you worthy? And then you have to be like, am I actually willing to receive this? Because if we don't make those openings in our energetic field, the universe is going to give us it. But if we're not going to receive it, why is it giving it to us? So those are major things that we have to ask ourselves. So in this Lion's Gate, it is pivotal for renewal and change. And I know I've been going through a lot of changes. I know tons of people are going through a lot of changes. And some of it's been really wonky, some up and down, all these crazy things. But if we look at the sciences, if we look at the energetic lines of our world, of our creation, we can actually see that there's a lot of great that can come out of everything here. Even renewals, recycles, because we have that infinity of the 8. And as long as we're going at it and raising our frequency, doing the proper release work on the things we need to, getting over traumas, getting over pain, getting over sadness, getting over hurt. Because if we don't do that, we're blocking what's actually trying to come to us. So keep that in mind, everybody. So I am going to open it up here. This is pretty much the final part of this talk, and I hope you all enjoyed it. But I will, if anybody has any final questions in the chat, I will take a look at the chat and kind of hang out with you guys for a little bit, I suppose, because I expected it to be an hour, and it's been an hour. But if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy and open to answer them. And I know I covered a lot of information. So, release work. Okay, big time. Release work. Energy work. Take those thoughts and those things about yourself and transmute them. And this is why this book is so powerful. And I just had somebody reach out today and told me how much this book changed their life. They were being gang stalked. They were being they had black magic on them from people. They were being attacked nonstop. Their whole life was falling apart. He said, man, I wish I would have never left. He's like, I wish I would have just kept doing this. So if you don't have the book, check out thevioletgateway.com. It's a Sayakaluxa. It's kind of like the foundational text of all the other ones that I've written, and I will be writing more books, but a lot of my work's going to go back to this, and we're going to be talking a lot more about this book too in upcoming videos, because this has been the first video that I've had, ever actually alone on my channel. So this kicks off the first video ever on this channel. And we're going to go back to this too. We're going to take a look at it. Zadok, hello. Hello, brother. I'm so glad you're here. It's late, but you're okay. It's okay. I forgive you. I forgive you. You're never late. You're never late. You're never late. But yes, it's a very great book, and I'm not just saying that because I wrote it. It's helped me, and I look at it like this was taught to me by my teachers. They're Lyrans in dreams, and through my physical teachers and mentors that I've had throughout my life who've just been absolute joys, So, CJ, thank you if you're watching, you know who you are. It's good, and it's beautiful, And I thank you all for being here. This is the first video on the Violet Gateway. This is like, a big thing for me, kind of. So I appreciate you all for being here and sharing in this experience with me, sharing in this information. And you know what? Let's all hit this thing good. Let's create amazing things. Okay? Let's not be wrapped in the hell of the world, because so many things want us to feel that. And that's the spiritual war. We don't. We're all spiritual warriors here, and if we're doing the right work and we're doing the right things and we're doing the good things within us and we're being righteous and we're doing the right magic, we're doing the right types of things, nothing but greatness. Nothing but greatness. So thank you all so much for being here. I appreciate you all so much. We're gonna do more of these. I'm gonna do more videos. I promise. You guys have made my night, and thanks for hanging out with me. I hope this information is helping you. I hope this information was enlightening to some degree, but no matter what, I appreciate